absolutely love containers,
There we
James.
go. That's it. You see, that's it. I love containers. Put that up.
They're just genius.
Why? Why do you love them?
I love there's so many different aspects to it, but where it all starts off is what they are, okay, which is standardized, ridiculously over-engineered, strong and capable, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the amazing thing about them. I mean, you talk about the expert in them, but I started in 2008. When we started Jim Will Fix It back in those days, I was pitching pretty much from day one. So if you remember, that was literally just at the stage where the crash hadn't fully happened yet.
Yeah,
And there were plenty of businesses that were doing really well. But the big problem was we still had the ridiculously high rents.
Yes.
At that stage. And so I was getting literally people saying, I'm running out of space. What can you do to give me space? And every time I go, just get a container. Here's one I proposed last week. But the problem was that it seemed like a step too far for a lot of people.
What do you mean step too far?
They thought that it was a complex thing to put together, and as a result, they didn't go for it. And instead, they'd almost always go for a prefab, a porta cabin instead that was cheaper and would fall apart. You know, within if you get 3 years out of a porta cabin in this environment, you're doing really well. Whereas 3 years later, might be a little bit rusty, and we'll get into that. But you have all of this, the structural rigidity, and in many respects, with a tiny little bit of maintenance, it'll look exactly the same 3 years later. So I absolutely loved it. Oddly enough, I proposed it that many times that in the end, I bought one myself. And made it, well, actually, I kind of customized the whole thing and made it into, in my last property, that was our pergola, that we converted into various different things. It started off as like a high bar seating for 10. We then took that out and then made it into a kind of a seating area that it worked much better as a seating area, in fact. And we'll talk about dimensions and the limitations of dimensions later as well. Then a friend of mine came along and said, I'm setting up a garage and I need some office space. What would you suggest? And I went, containers. Oh, well, so that's Glenn Power, the car guy who's on here. And so his first one came from the same guy who did my pergola. He's done a couple more, actually, when he set up the second Powerworks in DIP. He got another 2, I think, and so he's a complete container convert as well. But the real key with containers is they don't limit your imagination from what you can do with them. The start point for me was with my own build was I kind of initially started with I want a pergola.
Okay, so let's jump into a very particular area, and this is you got a backyard. And you're thinking, look, we want to have a place with our barbecue. We want to have maybe a little bar set up. We want to have, it could be anything. It could be a little rec area.
Well, you know what? Let's just go, because the majority of people here, I think, are listening in, are going to be in 2 camps. They're either going to be in the commercial camp, or alternatively, they're going to be in the useful for home camp. Okay. So let's start off with useful for home camp, and let's go initially with one application, which would be what we did, which was the kind of pergola design.
Okay. Quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
When we talk about containers, there's 3 options as I see it, and you used a very particular option with the pergola.
Yes.
Brand new container that's been decommissioned, or talk to the people who make containers and get something custom built.
Yeah. So that was the option I went for.
The custom built.
The custom built one.